Welcome to Look Behind the Look, the new podcast that examines iconic looks in film, television, music, and fashion history. I'm your host, Tiffany Bartok. Today, Selena would have been 50 years old. Impossible to believe, I know. What is also impossible to believe is that I have learned more about Selena in the past month than I have known my whole life. I always pride myself on my obsession and celebration of pop culture minutia, but I will admit to you right now, dear listener, that I missed the Selena boat. And I blame this on my college years, which coincided with Selena's crossover, and it was during this time that my musical theater degree was a priority, so I neglected the real world at all, or even modern entertainment actually, for 4 years. I knew of Selena's tragic murder, of course, and I have seen the film, yes, absolutely. But until recently, I had not dove deep into her extraordinary life, her tremendous talent, her undeniably important contribution to pop culture history. Now, don't worry, I am a convert now. Now that I'm vaxxed, my first road trip will be to the Selena Museum in Corpus Christi. So let me know if you want to come along. Selena's impact on so many is very intense, and to explore it more, I invited my friend Santi to speak with me about her. He is a visual artist, and I knew of his deep love for Selena always. I always knew about it, and his relationship with Suzette, Selena's sister. And I wanted to talk with him about the ways he uses his art to strengthen Selena's legacy. He's been doing that for years. He has a beautiful spiritual connection to Selena, which we talk about here. And please be sure to check out this episode on YouTube so you can actually see these illustrations, paintings, and his mural. It's extraordinary. And I'm not the only one who thinks so, because let me tell you, more than a handful of Selena's fans actually have gone as far as to tattoo Santi's Selena art onto their actual bodies. So take a listen, take a look, and most importantly, play your favorite Selena music all day. Because one good thing George W. Bush ended up doing back in 1995 was declaring today, April 16th, National Selena Day. Hi, everybody. I am here with Santi, who is a dear, 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 dear friend of mine. He is an exquisite illustrator. He is a designer. He is an everything, all knowledgeable of all pop culture icons, and needs to write a book on, like, maybe the book would be 9 icons you need to know, and complete with your illustrations. I was drawn to him on Instagram, of course. I think maybe in 2014, 2013, maybe. Oh my God, the years are flying by. Because, as you know, I'm a huge Prince fan, and his Prince illustrations like popped out like beacons to me in the Instagram world, and they are extremely beautiful. And he also does amazing Madonna illustrations, and he did the artwork for our film Larger Than Life, the Kevin Aucoin story, and he did all of the supermodels on either side, and it's in the back there, and I'm going to show it on the YouTube channel, of course. And I'll show all of the models that he did because they really capture them so well. And I'll never forget when you posted that picture of Kevin. You said to me, let's do Kevin, an illustration of Kevin for the poster art, for the key art. And I was like, that's an amazing idea. I didn't know what to expect when you first presented it to me. And it was just like his eyes were there. And it was so beautiful and breathtaking. And then I'll never forget when you posted it on Instagram, and Orbe, of all people, commented, and he said, you nailed it. And I thought, oh my gosh, Santi must be so happy to, to feel that. I mean, it was incredible. You really got him. So yes, that has been how we bonded. And of course, I got to come and shoot you at your beautiful studio in Bedford. And now we are joining you, and we get to see your artwork in the background here. I wanted to do an episode on Selena, truthfully, because I didn't know a lot about her, embarrassingly. And who else would I go to for Selena information and Selena school but you? You adore Selena. And I think why don't you just take me to school about Selena? But first, tell me a little bit about you and how you got into drawing her. Was she one of your first that you?
No, well, actually, in the 90s, I used to go to Houston, Texas every summer to spend the summers with my aunt there, like from 1992 up until the end of the 90s. And Selena was just starting, she had been around for a while, but it was really starting to, catch on the radio stations. And I just fell in love with the music, so it was like a big part of my adolescence, you know. And what happened was, as the years went by, I lost my aunt, a few years ago, and there was that connection between Selena and my aunt, because she had been the one to introduce her to me. So it was something that I automatically, correlated with each other. So I went to Miami. This is like in 2015, after my aunt had passed, and I got a job in an art store. I had gotten fired from my like real job, quote unquote, in New York City, and I was just kind of, in a funk. And I went to Florida. There was an art store across the street from where I was living, near Wynwood, in Miami, and it's like an arts community. And one day on the radio, Bitty Bitty Bomb Bomb started playing, and it's something, the way that music can be so powerful, like art and, any kind of dance. Music is something that, it really touches your soul, and if you can make the connection between, like, if you hear a song and you remember what you were going through at that time, it's almost like something in the brain just like sparks. Anyway, I went home that day and I bought myself a new watercolor set at my job. And I started making this painting, and it was sort of quick, And I don't know, maybe about a week later, Selena's sister Suzette contacted me through Instagram also. And I was like, no way, just because I had been such a big fan, and I didn't understand how it was so instant, because at that point I had very little following. I just started the account.
Well, this is 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like your images were just popping. I mean, you really stood out. I remember when, your images would just pop, and they would just be so emotional and full of emotion. So that
it was, I always wanted to be an artist. It was something that I wanted since I was a little boy, like 5, 6. And I was lucky that my father encouraged that. And I went to the School of Visual Arts. I took all the right steps. That's what I wanted to focus on. But then, life happens, and you have to get like a real job, quote unquote. So I had started working for several different companies, doing creative things, but not art, really, painting. And what I guess, I had been giving them 100% of my creative energy. And next thing you know, like 10 years passes by.
Yes.
And you haven't painted. It's just funny how when they say you have to give 100% of yourself to your job, in hindsight, I'm like, no, I should have given like 83%.
83 specifically. 83.
And kept some for myself.
Because
by the time you get home, it's like you don't even want to do your own makeup, I'm sure, after doing
100%.
All day. So it's like cobbler's kids get no shoes situation.
Yep.
And so that sort of wasn't happening, and then this was a way to bring it all back again. And Instagram really helped because you're getting this support from people you don't even know.
Yes.
Sometimes even more than the people you do know.
Oh, please don't get me started.
Perfect strangers. And then when people from the industry start to notice, you're like, well, they know, and it really has helped a lot, but yeah, so that's how everything with me and Selena and the artwork started. What Suzette, she really loved the painting, and we spoke on the phone, and she said that she really saw her sister in the eyes of this watercolor, and I was like on the verge of tears because then I was like, well, your sister's music brings me back my aunt, even if it's for that 1 second. I remember dancing with her in the car in Texas, and her telling me how big Selena was gonna be, and little moments like that meant so much to me. You know how like sensitive I am. I'm an
Yeah.
Aquarius. I don't understand a whole lot of other things, but when
Yeah.
I feel, I really feel. So for me, it was much more than just like, oh, she's pretty and the songs are nice. It was a very emotional connection,
And
and
all
the
that came
fact
through
that
in your artistry.
I guess so,
Mm-hmm.
and for her own sister to see that for me was like the biggest deal ever.
Oh
I
my
was
God.
beside myself. It was like all of a sudden I started to feel alive again after so many bad things, that
Yeah.
happened that year.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of it. And before you know it, one of the paintings was in People magazine that year. So Suzette, she really took a liking to me personally and for the artwork, and it was featured, and I'll show it to you. And it's something that I'm really proud of because my grandmother, at the time I was in Florida, so I was visiting my grandmother, you know, and my grandma was like showing it off to all the old ladies in the community that she lives in.
Oh,
So it was like the first time that, because you grow up and it's like you need to be like a doctor or a lawyer or
of
some like
course.
real profession. And then so when you say you're an artist, oftentimes, especially for the older people in our families, they mean well, but it's like, no, that's not like a job.
Of course. Of
And this was
course.
kind of like her being like, okay, I'm like, you don't see any lawyers in the magazine, do you? you know?
Unless they're, getting their kids into high school or college in
Oh
some
yeah, yeah,
shady ways. No,
exactly.
but like it's funny what grandmas and moms are, what they see as validation, like
Yeah.
a mention on Entertainment Tonight might be like an Oscar to
hmm
to our
hmm
parents um and grandparents. But do you think that your aunt sent you this whole
I
experience?
do.
Yeah, I do
I've never
too.
been like too much of a religious person, but certainly spiritual, and I believe in
Yeah.
a power and like energies more than anything.
Yes.
And I, there was like right there and then that night, I remember thinking, there's too much of a coincidence here. It's like the odds of this all happening for me at this specific time in my life where I almost needed some sort of sign, I
Mhm.
like needed to believe that, I don't know, that she was there or looking after me or, you know,
Yeah.
everything was just way too perfect for me to not believe that the cosmos were aligned or God heard
Mhm.
it or
Mhm.
whatever the case was, something was big happened, and it was the beginning of things, of a lot of great things that would come my way, just when I was thinking, "Ugh, I'm in my mid 30s. I just lost like such a good job. I lost my apartment. I'm going through this horrible breakup." It was one of those like when it rains, it pours,
Of
you know,
course. It
moments in my life, and I didn't know like how I would come back from it, but it was really just the beginning of like me really doing what I always wanted to do, you know. So yeah, so Selena for me, means a lot more than her just being like a pretty pop star or whatever, superficial thing that you may be able to say about some of the singers that we've had. It
yes.
was just like a big part of my life. And I think that Suzette understood that, and she genuinely believed that, you know and so we've done so many cool projects together, with this.
Yes. The Mac collaboration was the number one selling cosmetics collab, I think, of a celebrity endorsement that Mac
Yeah,
ever had.
yeah, the
Yeah.
website like crashed. Oh, Selena's fans, we don't mess around, we go hard. you know
It's
that's
incredible.
one thing that I will say, because it's such a, first of all, like, she was such a sweet person, and if you ever watch clips of her, there's this genuine, like, sometimes she's silly, sometimes she's sexy, and it's also genuine, you know
Right.
it's also so magical, you know. So she really
Yes.
became sort of like a princess for us, more than the singer, you know.
Yes, and it was like you could just a bit like Britney Spears where you know, in a different culture where, you know,
Yeah,
you could see her whole childhood when she was on
yeah,
stage and really
yeah. There
take
was
part
something
in it.
very human.
So Suzette and you, what was your first what was the first thing that you worked on together?
Well, the People magazine painting. It
So
was a larger
she was like, I'm gonna be doing an article
commission.
for people.
Yeah, it was going to be like 20-year anniversary of Selena's passing,
Okay.
and she wanted to do something also different, you know, because then it becomes a story also of how she's impacted an artist,
Yes.
you know. When I paint her, for me, it's like a therapy,
Yes.
you know. It's like I feel at peace, you know. I feel like I'm and what I also do is I create my own images in the sense that, like with the one with the roses behind me, that she never posed with two roses, you know.
Mhm.
Of course I use photos because, you know, for reference,
Mhm.
but then other things come out of my mind, so it's almost like giving the fans a new image, you know, a new
Mhm.
presentation of what I see, you
Mhm.
know, when I paint her. So that it also allows the fans to kind of have something new, I
Mhm.
believe.
Mhm.
So putting the painting in the article was a new image, basically, you know, showing people how she could influence someone like me, you know.
And then
Um,
she has the original. Suzette has the
yes,
original
the original is in the Selena Museum.
with like
Yeah.
the naked eye and then just like a little wing. But this girl did red lipstick like
Oh yeah.
no other. And it was
No.
incredible. And
Beautiful.
I feel like she had it in every look, but
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. But what was your favorite? I know that the community loves the Grammy look.
The Grammy look, yeah, was beautiful. I liked, well, as far as the performance outfits, my favorite was the one that she did at the Houston Astrodome, I believe, and it's like a
Yes.
purple like sling. Some and you know, Cher used to wear something very similar in the '70s. There's
Yes.
like two pieces of, you know, like material,
Yes.
um, almost like a bathing suit in a way. I really
Yes.
like that. I affiliate purple with like royalty, almost like
Of
with
course.
Prince.
Of
So
course.
whenever I think of her, first I think of White Roses, which were her favorite, and then I think of the color purple. It's just so majestic. It's like it felt like a festive, like she was having fun, and there was a lot of like cumbia dancing going on, a lot of
Mhm.
spinning. So it just kind of worked with, you know, with the culture, I think, also because our every Latin performer that sings some sort of salsa or cumbia, that's part of the look. You know, it's a warmer, tropical sort of moment. So it works, you know. But for her specifically, it worked. I like in the movie how they have like a whole sequence about the Houston.
I know, I know. And then I loved at the end when they showed all her actual footage of her performing. Do you think
Yeah,
that JLo did a good job?
I do.
I do
I
too.
do. I think it
Mhm.
was definitely, well, she admits it herself. It's the role that put her on the map, you know.
Has Suzette
Um,
ever talked to you about the film, and is she happy with that representation? Did she was
yeah,
yeah.
I think the family had a lot of say in who would play her, you know.
Yes.
And they felt like something about Jennifer Lopez they did embody her, you know.
Mhm.
Other than like amazing curves, it was more than that, you know. There was something, some kind of magic there, you know.
Yes, and I think the sincerity is, like, equal. Like, JLo
Yeah,
has a sort of, sincerity about and that just true joy in performing and just wanting
yeah.
to be a
She's a
star, and
performer. Yeah,
yes, 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 yes. Um, you know, I've seen unfortunate cases of your Selena artwork being hijacked and, you know, put on, you know, all of a sudden you'll just open up a page and it's a bunch of t-shirts of your art.
yeah.
And I've
It's
talked about
happened
it
to all of us.
stealing that stuff before on here and like what can artists do about that? Like what
Well, you know, you have to send a cease and desist for starters, you know,
to the
to
company?
the person that's bootlegging your art, you know. it's happened so much that I just got like, but you know, I've been lucky because the fans, like the kids I say, because a lot of times they're like teenagers or 20-year-olds, which is amazing to me that she's transcended like a certain age group, you know, because
Yes.
it was my age group that would have been the fans really, but it didn't end with
Yep.
that, you know, and this Netflix series will certainly now reach a whole other audience. You know?
I saw on Twitter last night, I think, that somebody was like, there were about 5 tweets that said, "My mom's making me watch the series, and I actually like it." I was
Yeah,
like, I'm sitting next to my son watching it. So I guess
yeah,
that's what's happening.
it would be like part of the, you know, curriculum in my home if I had that.
I mean, we're homeschooling anyway.
Yeah, might as well throw it instead of Spanish class. You know? But yeah, I'm like at the beginning I used to get really worked up over it because
Yeah,
I
of
put
course.
so much heart and soul into it, and then
Of
for
course.
someone to go, I don't sell the shirts.
Right.
So how is somebody else doing that? You know what I
Right.
mean? I'm lucky that both of my brothers are attorneys, so they
That's
help
right.
a lot. And the kids, again, the fans would be the first to send me screenshots. And they're like, don't worry, we're reporting it and blah, blah, blah. And so at some point, I didn't even have to do anything. The kids would
That's
just take
great.
care of it for me, you know?
That's great. That's
Because
great.
I guess I already expressed enough how much it bothered me. You
Mm-hmm.
know? Like I would go like on these crazy, you know,
Rants.
rants, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, or when even other artists copying the things that I did, you know, I already had, even with the image with the roses, you know, that's something that I created in the middle of at like 2 a.m. after like 3 glasses of wine, having a moment, you know.
Yeah.
And by the time I woke up in the morning, I was like, oh, look what I did, because I don't even remember it that much. So
Aw.
that's so personal to me, you know, for someone else to come and just rip that moment that I had with the art and Selena. It's a, it really is like a slap in the face to me. You go get your own creativity. Don't
Right.
come over here with that, you know. And you know, I have no problem letting people know what's up. None. Hashtag. Don't
That's right.
don't
No.
start none, won't be none. You know. So
Um,
yeah, it's a thing, I guess, these days. You know, everybody, whatever, wants a piece of the pie. I don't know.
I don't know what I know. They think they are making some. I don't know what they think they're doing. I don't know what.
Yeah, it's different. Like if it was a drink and draw, and this has happened, where the people throwing the drink and draw will be like, "Can we do the rose image?" And I'm like, it doesn't bother
What's a
me because
drink? What's a drink and draw?
the drinking draw, like these places will hold before the coronavirus came. You know, they would host like a party where it would be more like fill in like a number, paint by number situation, and the people would try to copy my painting while they're having wine or whatever.
Like
Yeah,
at a.
they're fun, you know. And
That's really
so that
interesting.
doesn't bother me, you know. And anything that's gonna keep her memory and legacy going, and if someone uses my artwork, I've had tons of teachers ask if they could print stuff out to teach the kids for like Latin Heritage Month. I'm all for it. It's not that I'm like some crazy greedy freak, you know, with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. With that.
With that. It's more that I don't, when you start to make money off of
Yeah.
the 40 years it's taken me to get to where I am, then we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
You know, don't put my images on your shirt and then peddle it at some flea market for $20. No. You
Yeah.
know, and that's the case very often with not just the Selenas, but a lot of my artwork. You know, I had it when Madonna had her Living for Love tour. There was somebody went and made Frida Kahlo T-shirts with my artwork in Mexico City, and gave one to her, and she put it on stage. And someone sent me this photo, and they were like, "Oh, did you send Madonna your Frida Kahlo?" And I was like, "That's my Frida Kahlo, but I never made T-shirts."
How
So
surreal was that? I
yeah.
don't think I knew that story.
No, yeah, I have the photos too. Every now and then, I'm like, "Ah," because if
Wait.
anything, I would have wanted her to know it was mine. You know.
Yeah. Oh my, wait, was your artwork in when she put the fan
The
art in?
projections,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
That
Is
was
it that one
behind.
right there? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that
Yeah.
was done properly, right?
Yeah.
I was asking you about the moment where Madonna, forgive me, Selena, I'm just talking about Madonna for 1 second. Um, moment in the concert, which was it? The Rebel Yell, the Rebel,
Yeah. Yeah.
Rebel Yell,
Rebel Heart.
Billy
Yeah.
Idol, Rebel Tour. I saw it and I was like, oh my God, there's Santi. And there was your art in the fan art section. And so that was done properly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
Well, that must have
I
been very
mean,
fulfilling too.
what artist isn't going to want their work to be seen? It's great,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
There's just ways to do it. That's
Yeah.
all. Other ones are being, and I don't know what the confusion is about that. You know? Like,
It's great
who raised
exposure
you?
to be on a t-shirt and I make $25 on them and you make
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
What? Yeah,
yeah. No.
I understand completely. So so can you tell me about one thing with Selena that I thought was pretty interesting is that in all the videos that I watched, where fans, because there's gajillions of videos where girls are doing the Selena look, right? Or like
Yeah,
professional makeup artists come and they're like, we're doing the Selena look. It's always the red lip. Sometimes it's matte, sometimes it's glossy.
yeah.
And I noticed too, though, when people are talking about what Selena means to them, they make a big point of how she would speak English and um, Spanish. And
Mhm.
what did that do for people?
Well, well, first of all, Selena was Mexican American, like
Mhm.
she was born in Texas and Corpus and raised and learned Spanish later on in
It was
life.
later, yeah,
Yeah, it was
because there's
later.
always a big thing about how she could sing it but couldn't speak it well, and that
Right,
was an
right,
issue.
right. And it's understandable if you're an Italian American, or do you know Italian
Mhm, mhm,
perfectly? Are you
mhm.
going to start singing
Right,
in Italian?
of
It's
course.
hard. Once
Mhm,
the generations, there's all sorts of things, assimilation, the language not being spoken all the time. So it's
mhm,
hard. I see it now with my nieces and nephews. As
mhm.
much as my mother yells to the skies, why don't the kids speak Spanish? It's not that easy, you know? They, I would say you should, because who wouldn't want to have a part of their culture keep on going,
Of
but
course.
it's in theory. But in actuality, it's very difficult. When you do manage to do that, I think it's kudos to the parents, because it's not easy
Mhm,
at
mhm,
all.
mhm.
And for her career, it was important because that genre of music was Tejano music, which was a whole other thing, and a lot of the fans were not only Mexican American, but then it went to become big in Mexico.
Mhm.
So many concerts in Mexico City and Monterrey, all over, So she needed to really polish it up, and she did. There's parts in the movie that are really cute, I think, where she's like messes things up a little, or it says the number the wrong way. But I don't know. Like I say, she had this sort of like charismatic, like quirkiness sometimes, still like a beautiful woman and sexy and all of that. But there would be like these funny faces and giggles that just makes you fall in love with her. I really think that's where it is. Other than absolutely stunning voice and a great performer, she was lovable, genuinely like a lovable, sweet girl, you know really. I think that's what it is. There's so many layers to it. There's also, for me, representation is so important for everybody, you
Mhm.
know so when I see my little Latin nieces with dark hair and dark eyes, and see someone like her who's just as stunning as any blonde blue-eyed bombshell, and has her own magic, it's important,
Mhm.
because those little girls should be proud of everything, so that's a whole other layer for me. So every time I paint her, it's also like this pride,
Of
this,
course.
she's a Latin beauty, these like mysterious eyes, and it's a certain kind of beauty that comes with our culture, and that's something to be proud of, and it's something important, because then it allows other people to be proud of what they are, you know.
Mhm.
Big deal, I think. And I also think that's why the fan base is varied, but it's always been like very strong with young Latina girls, you know, because she's like our princess, you know.
How sad. Do you think do you see anybody who might be able to not replace, but, you know,
No.
I know it's like it's like,
I think there's a lot of people who have already admitted that they were inspired by her, or even like Selena Gomez.
mhm.
She was named after Selena. Her mother was a
I
Selena,
didn't know that.
yeah, and her mother named her Selena. You know, and she would never say I'm the next Selena or anything like that. But she will admit, you know, that that was a big inspiration as a, you know, a
Mm.
Latina and a Latino American, you know. So it's like no one could ever take her place, but it's important to note that she's inspired so many, you know.
Yes.
Even Cardi B, who is a huge fan, you would never compare the two, you know. And I'm a fan of all of these people, you know. But that's that, and this is this, you know. There's no comparison, you know.
Exactly.
But it's nice to be able to know, oh, like this outfit from the stylist in 2020 was inspired by this Selena look, because it's important to legacy, you
Yes.
know.
Who did her costuming? Who did
She did.
Yeah.
She
She
loved
did her
fashion.
makeup. She did her
Yeah, she
makeup,
did
yeah.
her costumes. There were other, you know, designers I think later on that would help her, and you know, like people to put it together and sew
Mhm.
it. She opened up her boutiques.
Yes.
Also, I believe there were two of them, Selena, etc. I believe, and they, you know, she always loved fashion, and you can see in the museum from photos that I've seen little sketches and things, you know, which is another big inspiration to me because I'm into fashion too and
Yeah,
fashion
of course.
inspiration. And she really liked to put her looks together. You know, you can tell the hats were matching. Everything was just like, you know,
She was really good at it.
she really
And
was like a Renaissance woman. You know, the
yeah.
whole package, the dancing, the singing, she was her own stylist, you could really say. Look at the people nowadays. It takes a village.
I can't. I know.
You
I
know, some of them can't even put on some lip gloss on their own, let alone
I
making their own outfits.
I saw something kind of unfortunate. I think there was a virtual press tour and there was a t-shirt being worn and there was about 3 people tucking in the t-shirt.
And doing it, yeah. Yeah, how amazing, right?
And I was like, "Ay, ay, ay, our world, our world."
You know, but then it also brings up a good point with Selena that they started from scratch. You
Yeah.
know, it was almost like this sort of the Jackson 5 type of thing where the family's on just trying every venue,
It's
playing at a
so Jackson
restaurant.
5.
Yeah, the dad's kind
Yes.
of like putting it all together, and you know, so when you start from nothing and you're literally setting up the speakers and making your outfits, you're never going to be that girl that needs someone to tuck in her shirt.
Right.
It was clear that Selena was going to be like the, you know, the front runner, and the band, and the family was the band, but it was always the, you know, they all put in the work. It was
Mhm.
everybody's blood, sweat, and tears, you know.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
sometimes when I see, because you know, nowadays everyone can just write whatever they want online. People can be vicious. People can do all sorts of nasty makeup things, whatever. Sometimes it'll be like, oh, well, why is the family still doing this and that? Well, why wouldn't they? They
Yeah.
were there. First of all, they were there too. Let's not
Right.
forget who they were playing the drums, they were writing the music, they were playing
Mhm.
the other instruments, they were dancing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And maybe it's important to them to carry on their sister's legacy. God
Mhm.
forbid if something happened to me, why I wouldn't want my brothers and my mom and dad promoting my artwork.
Mhm.
I would want some random thief taking credit
Right.
for it and making t-shirts. No. I would want my family, who's part of the reason that I do what I do, to be doing that, you know.
Yes.
It's so elementary to me, but when you read some of these comments, it's like, God, you see how important her legacy is, and her becoming this sort of icon. Just in my story, there's millions of stories that can be told about how she's influenced people. Why wouldn't you want that? You know what I mean? I don't get that at all. You know,
I
and I
don't
think
either. I know I hear a lot of that talk about different people's heritage, and it's heartbreaking because there's no reason to let go of family.
no, of somebody's memory, especially if the memory is so, it's an example.
And it brings so much hope and positivity to other people. I mean, why put that
Oh,
light out? Yeah.
and you know, she wanted a makeup line.
I
There's an
wondered
actual,
about that.
yeah, she wanted to do, she like perfumes and all of that. It was something that was part
Oh,
of
she
her.
would have done all that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I posted a clip once where she talks about makeup or something, and she was a girly girl. She liked her makeup. You know, actually her makeup case is in the museum, and it has
I
like
saw that.
her staples. You
Oh
know,
my
like
God,
Chanel.
we're going. We're going.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
did you know what was in that kit?
I knew that it was some Chanel lipstick, but I don't know
Which
everything.
one? We have to
I don't know.
know.
I
We
don't
have
know.
to know. Um, we have to go see right now. Now, Mac had the collab in 2014, yeah?
Yeah.
And then 2020. What was that process? Why did they re-release it, and why during a pandemic?
Well, probably that it was planned already, you know, and I
Aha.
guess, and
Okay.
because
Yes,
of
of
the
course.
success of the first one.
So they reissued it, and was it the same thing? Because now I
No,
can't
I
get
think there were
any.
different colors. I have stuff from the first one because I got it from
I
my
s-
mom,
I remember.
and my
I
mom loved.
So one had the purple case.
Yeah, the purple
Purple.
compact. I have it somewhere. You want to see it?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I can't get any.
No, it's like forget it. We gotta go on the search on eBay. And stuff.
Ah,
So
there
this
it
is
is.
the compact. Of course, again back to purple. It's like it was one of the colors that we associate with her, because of her outfits, and I think it's just royal. It's the compact case with you know, like powder.
I want one. Okay, so and that you cannot get.
No, they don't. They sold out like the day that it was released, and then
So then it
there's
came back out in 2020 in April, right? In April-ish.
yeah,
Okay,
I
and you
believe
can't get those either.
no, and there's other items like
Wait,
liquid.
is that purple eyeliner?
No, it's
It's black with a
purple
purple. Okay,
package.
thank God. I almost had a heart attack. All right,
And
I'm
there's
okay now.
little
I'm okay.
eyeshadows, and a lot of this stuff is named after her songs, which is, if you're a fan, it's
And
cool.
there's a lip gloss called Bitty Bitty Bum Bum, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one my mom likes. And you met my mom. She's not like a makeup kind of lady.
I love your
She swears
mother.
by it. She's like, it's so natural, and it's
Aww.
like very demure, you know.
I
So it wasn't
love
all
that.
like super red, you know. But my
Yeah.
mom, you know, actually I had to ask Suzette to do me pull some strings and send me,
Well,
because my mom was running out, and my mom never asks for anything. So I was like,
yeah.
strange. Let me just ask. And she sends me this box full of like, yeah, from my
Those are
mom.
the things that make all the t-shirt stealing worth it. Like, it's
Yeah,
like, you know what? You can have all that. I just got a shipment from Selena's sister.
yeah, from Suzette, and the t-shirt and all these things. She's a
Oh,
very nice lady. She's been very good to me. I don't know anyone else in the family, but we've grown to become friends, and we text. Like, you know, once I saw that, like she could eat like a whole pizza by herself, Selena, and
I saw that line in the movie. She
yeah,
said, I can eat a whole medium pizza. I was like, why so
yeah,
specific medium pizza?
yeah,
Not a large, not a small, a medium. Like, she's tried all three sizes, and the medium
yeah.
is the one that she
It's
can.
the thing. So I'll be like, is that true? And I'll text her stuff, or I'll be like, did you guys have nicknames for each other? And she'll be like, oh, this and this and that. So, you know, I'm confident to say that she's a friend. You know,
That's rare to be able to say that someone's
yeah,
a friend.
because
So that is.
there's nothing she can gain from me right at this point, you know, or ever. she's just genuinely kind and compassionate, you know. So I always, if I see some kind of nonsense online or whatever, you can, as the way I was raised, you can only speak of what you know, of what you've experienced, you know. Because it's like if someone was a certain way to you, I don't know, maybe what'd you do to them or what?
What
I
was your
can't.
part in it? What are you working on now?
With my personal projects.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I've been in eyewear for over
Mm-hmm.
25 years, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and most recently, one of the optometrists that I used to work with at another company has opened up a shop in the area. It's a beautiful shop. It's an eyewear shop in a full medical optometrist office. It's here in Westchester in Dobbs Ferry, right out. It's one of the river towns on the Hudson River.
What's the name of it?
Well, the town is called Dobbs Ferry. It's pretty close to the city. Yeah.
Oh, but it's in with that optometrist is what you're saying.
Yeah,
It's not, I got it.
yeah,
Okay.
and the shop is called Eyes on Hudson because
Okay.
it's right on the Hudson River, and basically the whole brand is about community. Everybody that had anything to do with opening and creating the shop was local, you know, including the fact that my father was the architect for it. You'll see it. It looks like the barn that you went to in Bedford. Yeah, very rustic and very warm, and it's like everything that you
Did
know.
your
I
dad
mentioned.
your dad built that whole barn that I was in?
Yeah, that was a vacant space. He brought it piece by piece from like, you know, upstate, and he's like a real architect, a
So he
real artist.
designs it and executes it.
Yeah, yeah. So we did
Wow.
that. There for the shop, there was a different builder. You know, but everybody was local. The person that made the cabinets was from Brooklyn. She's a carpenter and she has her shop in Brooklyn. So it took a year and it was a really amazing journey, you know. And now I'll have to send you photos and links.
Yes.
It's really
Yes, yes,
special,
yes.
you know, and I'm really happy that she included me in it, you know. And now what we're doing is we're designing our own house brand. So you'll be able
Okay.
to, so she carries a lot of the independent designers from around the world that we know personally. It's not stuff you're going to find at the mall. It's
Right.
like, you
Yes. No, I wouldn't think. I
know,
didn't
it's
want now here my request because I'm at the age of readers now. You know, I've got my
so,
readers. So now I want Prince. I want Prince on the side here. Prince.
yeah, well, sky's the limit. You'd be surprised what you can do, you know, with my eyewear I showed you, I put my artwork in
It's
there,
amazing.
you know. So it's fun because we're in our little niche of eyewear. We're people who are passionate about it. It's more than just like
Right.
peddling glasses. Anyone could open up a shop and sell Ray-Bans all day. Who cares? You know, we want to do something bigger and more about like, look, this is our friend from France and he designed these in his town and they're made here and and there's the market for that, you know.
Yes.
There's people that want that, you know, and I'm happy because I never thought I'd get to this point in my career in eyewear, you know, where I'd be making art. I'm not making glasses. I'm making like a little art for,
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
it's exciting. Even with the pandemic, it hasn't slowed down our excitement.
Well, I know. What do you think is going to happen? I mean, what have you been seeing in the visual arts world pandemic wise? The creation, I mean, I predict, you know, like a freaking Moulin Rouge time coming. You know,
Yeah.
like I imagine that we're all going to come together through art. I don't know
Yeah.
what you see cuz
Yeah, I feel like this has been like a resting period
yeah.
personally. But as the things are getting better, you know, we have all these vaccines coming out, and also we've all acclimated because
Mhm.
that's what you do. Survival of the fittest. If you
Mhm.
can't acclimate and get used to the new ways, then you know you're not going to be able to move forward. Like in anything,
Yeah.
you have to you have to be more careful. Wash your hands. Use your mask. I mean, for me, it's not like the biggest inconvenience of my life, you know, to wear a
Right,
mask.
right, right.
You know, I've had underwear that's given me more problems than that.
Now
So
you just
it's
have
like,
the underwear on your face. Well, I'm so happy that I met you that day in the coffee shop, even though it has disappeared. You and I have remained friends.
yes, coffee
The
shop.
saddest departure from New York City was that coffee shop. But
I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it either. And have you seen it? It became a Chase Bank. Yeah.
Like everything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Starbucks.
Oh, but we're still here, and I look forward to all that you have coming, and I love you.
Love you too. Thank you so much for everything.
Oh my God. Thank you.
Thanks for listening, everybody, and don't forget to share your favorite Selena memories on all of our social. I can't wait to hear them all and celebrate her all day. She deserves it. Next week, we are going to be talking to Mia Neal. And Mia is on course to make Oscar history by being the first Black woman to be nominated in the makeup and hair category for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. She will make Oscar history if she wins. So stay tuned for our conversation, and also don't forget to watch the Oscars next weekend. Look Behind the Look is a Vinyl Foot production, written by me, your host, Tiffany Bartok, produced by Jace Bartok, and produced and edited by Kelly Riley, with audio engineering by Nicole Tucker. If you're interested in learning more, find our video version on the YouTube channel Look Behind the Look podcast. There you can see rare photos and clips from our guests. And please follow us on Twitter at LookBehindPod and Instagram at LookBehindTheLook. If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe. And tell your friends and spread the word. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or any podcatcher of your choice. Thanks for listening to Look Behind the Look.